abusing the water bodies. We are absolutely abusing the natural resource of water, okay? By disposing into them all kinds of waste, we tend to believe that water can wash away everything, but this everything that we are washing into the water is causing the water body damage of the water bodies, okay? And we are not taking into the fact, considering the fact, not taking into account the fact that water bodies are our lifeline, as well as of other living organisms also. So not only for human beings, but for all living organisms, water is an essential component. Due to such activities of humankind, the ponds, lakes, streams, rivers, estuaries, and oceans are becoming polluted in several parts of the world. Realizing the importance of maintaining the cleanliness of the water bodies, Government of India has passed the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in 1974. This was before air pollution, important MCQ. Okay, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act is passed in the year 1974. So now domestic sewage and industrial effluents are the major source of water pollution. Here in the diagram you can see, even if 99% of the water is pure and 0.1% impurity is there, it is unfit for human use. This 0.1% impurities can comprise of suspended solids, colloidal material and dissolved materials. So suspended solids निकालना easy होता है, but dissolved materials from the water, it is difficult to remove. I've given the example of tea. When you are making tea, चाय पत्ती remove करना easy है when you filter it, but to remove the dissolved sugar, to remove the dissolved taste, that is difficult, okay? So what is the sewage, the sewage that we leave from our towns, from our cities? We wash everything into our drains, but where is this drain water going? It is going underground. Villages में क्या होता है जहाँ पे proper drainage system भी नहीं है? Have you ever imagined if is the sewage treated before being transported to the nearest river? Are we doing the sewage treatment? Is the sewage treatment plant available before entry of the water into the river on all the rivers? You've seen about the sewage treatment plan in detail in Microbes in Human Welfare chapter. So merely 0.1% impurities makes domestic sewage unfit for human use, important MCQ. You have read about sewage treatment plan in chapter 10. Solids are relatively easy to remove. What is most difficult to remove are the dissolved salts such as nitrates, phosphates and other nutrients, and toxic metal ions and organic compounds. Domestic sewage primarily contains biodegradable organic matter which readily decomposes. Our bacteria do this work of decomposition of biodegradable organic matter which is dissolved in the water. Thanks to bacteria and other microorganisms which can multiply using these organic substances as substrates and hence utilize some of the components of sewage. We have seen this in sewage treatment plan. Okay, phase 1 में you remove the solid impurities. After that, in phase 2 the microorganisms are going to help dissolve the organic impurities. For that they require a lot of oxygen. So जैसे ही sewage water में, in the sewage water the biochemical oxygen demand is very high. That means dissolved oxygen level is low. So these relationships you have to remember. More the amount of dissolved organic matter in the water, more will be the biochemical oxygen demand, because microbes will require this biochemical oxygen demand to dissolve the organic nutrients inside the water. Because biochemical oxygen demand is more, the dissolved oxygen is going to be less. So you have seen this relationship between BOD and DO in Microbes in Human Welfare chapter also. It is possible to estimate the amount of biodegradable organic matter in sewage water by measuring the biochemical oxygen demand. If I tell you कि एक sample of water का biochemical oxygen demand ज़्यादा है, so you can correlate that this water contains a lot of biodegradable organic matter or the water is polluted. Low the BOD, the water is fresh. So BOD and DO, that is the dissolved oxygen, are inversely related. In the chapter of organisms, you have read about the relationship between BOD, microorganisms, and the amount of biodegradable matter. Now, there is a graph over here which shows some of the changes that one may notice following discharge of sewage into the river. See over here. when sewage water is discharged into the river without any treatment. So at this point where it is let into the river, the BOD is going to sharply increase because this sewage water is full of biodegradable organic matter now. So biochemical oxygen demand by the microbes is going to sharply increase. Because BOD has increased, the level of dissolved oxygen is going to sharply decrease. BOD and DO will be inversely related to each other. BOD धीरे धीरे डिक्लाइन होगा, जैसे जैसे ये डिकम्पोजिशन होता जाएगा ऑर्गेनिक मैटर का, ऑर्गेनिक मैटर खत्म होता जाएगा, BOD रिड्यूस हो जाएगा. नाउ द माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स डू नॉट हैव एनी बायोकेमिकल ऑक्सीजन डिमांड एंड डिजॉल्व्ड ऑक्सीजन increases in the water, means the water is now pure, is fresh now. So when the BOD is high, fishes will be killed inside because of low availability of oxygen, and other organisms, water organisms, will disappear. Slowly, when water is becoming fresh again, the dissolved oxygen is there. There will be reappearance of clean water organisms. So this graph is telling us microorganisms involved in biodegradation of organic matter in the receiving water body consume a lot of oxygen. As a result, there is sharp decline in dissolved oxygen and sharp increase in biochemical oxygen demand. This causes mortality of fish and other aquatic creatures. ये धीरे धीरे जब BOD रिड्यूस होगा, डिजॉल्व्ड ऑक्सीजन इंक्रीज होगा, तो वापस से these organisms will start appearing in that water body. Now, presence of large amount of nutrients, mainly nitrates and phosphates, they also cause excessive growth of plants, one of which is the algae, the free floating algae, also called algal bloom. You will see that the water body is full of algal bloom, which imparts a distinct color to the water body. See the picture over here. This is a picture of algal bloom. Algal blooms cause deterioration of the water quality and fish mortality again, because now deep inside sunlight cannot go, the oxygen is utilized by these algae, so they are going to deteriorate the quality of water, cause death of the organisms inside the water. And some algae are extremely toxic to human beings and animals. You may have seen the beautiful mauve colored flowers, purple colored flowers on the water bodies, which appear very appealing. They are floating plants in the water bodies. These plants were actually introduced into India from Australia for their lovely flowers, but they have caused havoc by their excessive growth and by causing blocks in our water bodies. They grow so extensively in water bodies which are full of nutrients that it is difficult to remove them, and again they degrade the quality of water. They disturb the ecosystem because again the fish die inside, there is low availability of sunlight, there is low availability of oxygen. These are plants of water hyacinth or the Iconia crassipes, important MCQ. The world's most aquatic weed, important MCQ, also called terror of Bengal, important MCQ. So all these are important MCQs with this. They grow abundantly in eutrophic water bodies. Eutrophic means nutrient rich water bodies, and mainly these nutrients are nitrates and phosphates, important MCQ, and lead to an imbalance in the aquatic dynamics of the water body, in the ecosystem dynamics of the water body. Now we have seen the ecosystem chapter in detail. So अगर producer, primary consumer ये सब affect होंगे, so definitely the secondary consumers, tertiary consumers are going to get affected. Sewage from our homes as well as from hospitals are likely to contain many undesirable pathogenic microorganisms, and its disposal into water without proper treatment may cause outbreak of serious diseases such as dysentery, typhoid, jaundice, cholera, etc. Unlike domestic sewage, wastewater from industries like petroleum, paper manufacturing, metal extraction, and processing, chemical manufacturing, they often contain toxic substances. These toxic substances, they go on accumulating inside the organisms from one trophic level to the other. And these are mainly elements with high density of greater than 5 gram per centimeter cube. Examples are of mercury, cadmium, copper, lead, your DDT, and variety of other compounds. A few toxic substances often present in the industrial wastewater can undergo biological magnification, which is called biomagnification. Means primary consumer level से लेके tertiary consumer या quaternary consumer तक the effect, the level of the toxicant is going to increase. It's going to magnify. This phenomenon is called biomagnification. Biomagnification refers to increase in concentration of the toxicant at successive trophic levels. This happens because a toxic substance accumulated by an organism cannot be metabolized or excreted. ये toxic metals excrete नहीं होते हैं body से, ये metabolize नहीं होते हैं, thus ये pass on होते हैं to the next trophic level, to the organism which is going to eat the first trophic level organism. This phenomenon is well known for mercury and DDT. This figure is showing you the chain. See the amount of DDT in water. Then in the zooplankton, see the amount. Then in the small fish, it is going on magnifying. Then in the large fish, DDT content और magnify हो गया है, and fish eating birds में DDT content और ज़्यादा magnify हो गया है. All these values of DDT content at the different trophic levels are important MCQs for you. And mercury के साथ we have seen the Minamata disease. When mercury in the fish was there, high levels of mercury was present in the fish because of the industrial area of Japan near the Minamata Bay, and these fish were consumed by human beings, so the content of mercury in the humans increased, mainly the fishermen in that area, and this was called Minamata disease. So with mercury you have to remember Minamata disease, you have to remember Japan. Alright, so this is showing you what is biomagnification. This higher concentration of DDT disturbs calcium metabolism in birds, which causes thinning of eggshell and their premature breaking, even causing decline in the bird populations. Important MCQ, what will be the final effects of DDT in this aquatic food chain? Now eutrophication. Eutrophic water body यानी कि nutrient rich water body. Eutrophication is the natural aging of a lake by nutrient enrichment of its water. ये nutrient enrichment कहाँ से हुआ? ये sewage से हुआ, ये industrial sewage से हुआ, domestic sewage से हुआ, or anything which you are washing away in the water bodies without any treatment. In a young lake, the water is cold and clear, supporting little life. With time, streams drain into the lake, introduce nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus, which encourage the growth of aquatic organisms, not only animals but also plants. As the lake's fertility increases, plant and animal life का burden बढ़ता जाता है, organic remains begin to be deposited in the lake bottom. Over the centuries, means over hundreds and hundreds of years, silt and organic debris piles up in the bottoms of the lake. The lake grows shallower and warmer, with warm water organisms supplanting those that thrive in a cold environment. अब environment change हो गया है, habitat change हो गया है, तो warm water organisms आ जाते हैं. Marsh plants take root in the shallows and begin to fill in the original lake basin. Edges से plants आना चालू हो जाते हैं और धीरे धीरे लेक बेसिन को फिलअप करते हैं. Eventually the lake gives way to large masses of floating plants, finally converting into land. Depending on climate, size of the lake and other factors, कितना बड़ा लेक है, क्या क्लाइमेट है, कितना अमाउंट ऑफ सुएज डिस्चार्ज हुआ है उसमें, कितने न्यूट्रिएंट्स प्रेजेंट हैं, दिस natural aging of a lake may span thousands of years. However, human activities have also accelerated this eutrophication, that is the aging of the lake, which we call cultural or accelerated eutrophication. Pollutants from man's activities like effluents from the industries and homes can radically accelerate the aging process. This phenomenon has been called cultural or accelerated eutrophication. During the past century, lakes in many parts of the earth have been severely eutrophied by sewage and agricultural and industrial waste. The prime contaminants are nitrates and phosphates. Important MCQ eutrophication के लिए mainly जो nutrients responsible हैं वो है nitrates and phosphates, which also act as plant nutrients. They overstimulate the growth of algae, causing unsightly scum and unpleasant odors and robbing the water of dissolved oxygen vital to other aquatic life. So now because these plants come over there, because these algae come, sunlight कम हो जाता है, dissolved oxygen कम हो जाता है, so they are going to deteriorate the water quality, they are going to decrease the life expectancy of the other water organisms. At the same time, other pollutants flowing into a lake may poison whole population of fish whose decomposing remains further deplete the water's dissolved oxygen content. Because the fish get decomposed, then it's going to remove the other dissolved water oxygen content also. In such a fashion, a lake can literally choke to death, a lake can be converted into land. Heated, that is thermal wastewaters flowing out of electricity generating units, example thermal power plants, constitute another important category of pollutants because they are changing the physical quality of water now. Thermal wastewater eliminates or reduces the number of organisms sensitive to high temperature. ये जो गर्म पानी which is let into the river, now the organisms inside the river which are sensitive to this very high temperature, they are going to die and may enhance the growth of plants and fish in extremely cold areas, but only after causing damage to the indigenous flora and fauna. Means actually जो flora and fauna था, जो native, indigenous means the native flora and fauna of that lake, that is going to get disturbed and new fishes can come in that lake. It will enhance the growth of other plants which are going to be suitable in that temperature of the lake. Let us see a very interesting case study now of integrated wastewater management. Wastewater, including sewage, can be treated in an integrated manner by utilizing a mix of artificial and natural processes. This was shown in the town of Arcata by local people of the town. This Arcata town is situated in the northern coast of California. Important MCQ. Arcata is an important MCQ. Collaborating with biologists from Humboldt State University, important MCQ, the town people, that is the local people of Arcata, they created an integrated wastewater treatment process within a natural system. The cleaning here occurs in two phases. जैसे हमारे sewage treatment plant में होता है, पहले conventional sedimentation होगा, filtering होगा so that solid waste remove हो जाए and chloride treatment होगा. After this stage, lots of dangerous pollutants like dissolved heavy metals still remain. To combat this, an innovative approach was taken. Biologists developed a series of 6 connected marshes over 60 hectares of land. 6 छोटे छोटे lands जिन पे different cultivations थे, different microorganisms थे, were seeded over there so that the water when passes through these marshes, it should get rid of those impurities. And this was spread over 60 hectares of land, again important MCQ. 6 marshes were there and 60 hectares of land was used. Appropriate plants, algae, fungi and bacteria were seeded into this area which neutralize, absorb and assimilate the pollutants. ये सारे वाटर में से ये सारे pollutants को निकाल लेंगे, न्यूट्रलाइज कर लेंगे, एब्जॉर्ब कर लेंगे. Hence, as the water flows through the marshes, it gets purified naturally. This area has now been built. The 60 hectares of land is now also a sanctuary with a high level of biodiversity in the form of fishes, animals, and birds that now reside here. And a citizens group called Friends of the Arcata Marsh, FOAM, are responsible for the upkeeping and safeguarding of this wonderful project. So interesting. The local town people have come up for this integrated wastewater management. All this time, we have assumed that removal of waste requires water. Whenever you have some sand in your water, you have some dirt in your hand or your sand in your hand, we go and wash it with water because we feel that water is required to remove all the waste. But that is creation of sewage. Okay, we are creating sewage when we are washing everything into the water. Important MCQ. जब हम वाटर में कुछ भी मिक्स कर रहे हैं, वाटर में कुछ भी हम वॉश कर रहे हैं, वी आर क्रिएटिंग sewage because the water that is going to go into the drainage line is now going to constitute sewage. But what if water is not necessary to dispose of human waste like excreta? Every morning, if every individual is not flushing, how much amount of water can be saved? Can you imagine the amount of water that one can save if one didn't have to flush the toilet? Well, this is already a reality. Ecological sanitation is a sustainable system for handling human excreta using dry composting toilets. This is practical, it is hygienic, it is efficient, and it is cost-effective solution to human waste disposal. The key point to note here is that this composting method, human excreta can be recycled into a resource that is a natural fertilizer. So इससे हम अपना पानी तो बचा रहे हैं, we are creating less sewage, we are reducing the water, we are saving water, and we are creating a resource that is a natural fertilizer which reduces the need for chemical fertilizers. So these three important things we are doing if we are not flushing the human excreta with water. We are saving water, alright. We are preparing a natural fertilizer and we are reducing our sewage. and this is also a cost effective solution. These eco-san toilets, that is ecological sanitation method, is being developed in many areas of Kerala and Sri Lanka. Important MCQ work is going on so that these can be introduced in all parts of the world with maximum efficacy. That you put into the dustbin, that goes into the trash. Now municipal solid waste वो waste को बोलते हैं जो रोज सुबह म्यूनसिपल कॉरपोरेशन की गाड़ी आके आपके घर से लेके जाती है, या आपके ऑफिस से लेके जाती है, या आपके स्कूल से लेके जाएगी. ओके, so municipal solid waste are waste from homes, offices, stores, shops, schools, hospitals that are collected and disposed by the municipality. The municipal solid waste generally comprise of paper, food waste, plastic, glass, metals, rubber, leather, textile, etc., etc. Everything that you are putting into the dustbin. They can either be burned, but burning reduces the volume of waste, and although it is generally not burned to completion, so they don't burn completely, they are again left unburned. Then they can be openly dumped, and open dumps often serve as breeding grounds for rats and flies. Pass through an open dump किसी road पर अगर है तो you will understand what these open dumps are doing. The third option is sanitary landfills were adopted as the substitute for open dumps. In a sanitary landfill, waste are dumped in a depression or trench. A depression is prepared underground, or a trench like thing. A depression is prepared underground, and there the waste is compacted and covered with dirt every day. So this waste is covered now on top with a layer of sand or a layer of dirt every day. If you live in a town or city, do you know where the nearest landfill site is? Have you ever thought that where is this municipal waste which is collected from your home, from your colony every day? Where is it going? Where do these kachra wali gadis take the kachra, which is their destination? Okay, they are sites which are far away from the city. Landfills are also not really much a solution, since the amount of garbage generation, especially in the metros, has increased so much that these sites are also getting filled very fast now. Also, there is danger of seepage of chemicals from these landfills, which can pollute the underground water resources. A solution to all this can only be in a human beings becoming more sensitive to these environmental issues. You and I will have to actively participate in the disposal of this municipal waste from at least our homes. All the waste that we generate can be and should be categorized into three types: biodegradable, recyclable, and non biodegradable. It is important that all the garbage generated is sorted out. That is what the Kachra Wali Gadi is also telling you. That separate karo the wet waste and the dry waste. What can be reused or recycled should be separated out. Our kabadi walas and rag pickers also do this job of separation of materials for recycling. The biodegradable materials can be put into deep pits in the ground and can be left for natural breakdown. This can again prepare a good manure or a fertilizer. That leaves only the non biodegradable to be disposed of. The need to reduce our garbage generation should be a prime goal. Instead, we are increasing the use of non biodegradable products. So, plastic and all, the government is imposing restrictions, but still human beings are using it. Just pick up any ready made packet of any good quality eatable, such as a biscuit packet, and study the packaging. Do you see the number of protective layers used? Note that at least one layer is of plastic. We have started packaging even our daily use products like milk and water into polybags. In cities, even fruits and vegetables can be brought packed in beautiful polythene and plastic packaging. We pay so much for that packaging, but what are we doing for the environment? Just contributing heavily to environmental pollution. State government across the country are trying to push for reduction in use of plastics and use of eco-friendly packaging. We can do our bit by carrying cloth or natural fiber carry bags when we go for shopping, and by reducing or refusing the use of polythene bags. Hospitals generate hazardous waste that can disinfect other that contains disinfectants and other harmful chemicals, and also pathogenic microorganisms, because it is coming from the hospitals now. Such waste also requires careful treatment and disposal so that direct contact is not there of any human being. The use of incinerators, that is burning it off, is crucial to disposal of hospital waste. Irreparable computers and other electronic goods are known as e-waste. आपके घर पे चेक करो आज कितने चार्जर्स हैं which are not working. How many old cameras are there? Old TVs are there? Old speakers are there? Old computers, old tablets, old phones. E waste are buried in landfills or are incinerated. Over half of the e waste generated in the developed world are exported to the developing countries, mainly to China, India, and Pakistan. So, developed countries are selling it to developing countries, where these developing countries they extract the metals like copper, iron, silicon, nickel, and gold. They are recovered during the process, but unlike developed countries which have specifically built facilities for recycling of e-waste, recycling in developing countries often involves manual participation and thus exposing the workers to toxic substances. So recycling is the only solution for treatment of e-waste, but it should be carried out in an environment friendly manner. Specific facilities should be provided so that there is no direct exposure to the manual workers. Now, case study for the remedy of plastic waste. It's a very important case study which comes from the city of Bangalore in our own country. A plastic sack manufacturer whose name was Ahmed Khan, age was around 57 years old, had been producing plastic sacks for around 20 years. But it is about 8 years ago he realized that plastic waste was a real problem. Polyblend, a fine powder of recycled modified plastic, was then developed by him by his company. This mixture is mixed with bitumen, which is the raw material for construction of roads. So bitumen में polyblend मिला के roads को construct किया गया. This study was done in collaboration with the RV College of Engineering and the Bangalore City Corporation. The students from the RV College of Engineering and the people from Bangalore City Corporation cooperated with him. Ahmed Khan proved that blends of polyblend and bitumen, that is addition of polyblend to bitumen, when used to lay roads, enhance the bitumen's water repellent properties. बारिश से जो road खराब होते हैं, it is going to repel the water and it is going to help increase road life by a factor of 3. The raw material for creating polyblend is any plastic film waste. So against a price of 0.40 per kg जिससे अहमद खान purchase करता था rag pickers से plastic, he now offers rupees 6. And by the year 2002, around 40 kilometers of road in Bangalore has already been built by using this mixture of polyblend and bitumen. At this rate, Khan will soon be running short of plastic waste in Bangalore to produce polyblend. Thanks to the innovations like polyblend, we might still avoid being smothered by the plastic waste.